Hello. Today, you will hear a story with an interesting plot. Alina worked as a teacher in a kindergarten for 10 years. She simply adored her work and considered that she was very lucky because communication with children brought joy and peace to her life. She believed that only at this age are people the kindest, most honest and happiest. She also recently completed courses on inclusive education and now had a group of children who needed special supervision. There were 11 boys and girls with various disabilities. Someone had problems with vision, someone with development. She loved them with all her heart. When negativity happened in her life and she wanted to cry, she, looking at their efforts, was ashamed of her weakness. After all, everything was fine with her health and she could live without any restrictions. And these children could not have a full life, but they steadfastly endured their small failures and tried to learn even more or learn something new. Although everyone was like family to her, she liked the 5-year-old girl's Laura the most. She looked like a little angel, blonde curly hair, and a constant smile on her pretty, doll-like face could not leave anyone indifferent. The only problem was that Zlata was almost completely deaf, which she lost due to a serious illness at an earlier age. It's a good thing that her dad loved his only daughter very much and had the money and connections to get the surgery done in time. Now the girl had hearing aids in her ears and started talking not so long ago. Alina was very happy with her achievements, often hugging and kissing her since the little one did not have a mother. She died immediately after giving birth to her daughter. And Alina had no children of her own and not even a husband. Somehow it so happened that she still hasn't met the one and only beloved. She kept dreaming about the wonderful feeling that the heroines of love serials felt. Alina had only one closest person to her. Her mother. The girl did not remember her father. He died in a terrible car accident when she was 2 years old. After the stress, her mother fell ill. Now most of the money earned was spent on medicine. Today, Dad Edward took Slaughter from kindergarten in the afternoon. The girl's nanny called him at work and informed him that she was going on sick leave. The teacher took his daughter out to him. She began to tell about how his daughter's day was about her successes and achievements. The man was pleased to listen to this Alina. He felt warmth and care in her voice. Number 1 even guessed how difficult and lonely it was for him after the death of his wife. He loved their daughter to death. He still could not forgive himself that due to the negligence of one nanny, his child almost lost his hearing. He should have taken her right away for a checkup instead of listening to the nanny tell her it was just a cold. But it is impossible to change anything you have to live on. Many times he heard from friends and relatives that he should marry again because the girl needs a mother. Several times he started relationships with women. At first, everything was fine, but after a few months, one of them ran away without explaining anything and the other suddenly began to be unreasonably jealous of his work assistant. They often quarreled and eventually broke up. In the evening, it worried remembered Alina. She was kind of domestic, natural, gentle, and at the same time, sexy, radiant, and unusual. It was difficult for him to describe her. But the fact that he liked her is 100%. Now every day Edward himself took his daughter from kindergarten. He was drawn there like a magnet. He really wanted to get to know Alina better. Today, I gave her a big bouquet of flowers thanking her for her work with her daughter and offered to drive her home. Alina was very surprised by the gift from her husband and the offer to give her a ride. At first, she refused, but Zlara began to ask to agree. The woman could not refuse this girl, so she agreed, smiling at the child. Edward turned out to be an interesting interlocutor. Communicating with him was easy and interesting. At the house, she sincerely thanked him for giving her a ride home. Now she was telling her mother about meeting this man. Mom immediately said that Edward really liked her and advised them to start dating if he proposed. Alina replied that although he was nice and handsome, she did not feel any spark between them. No sudden passion, that she just liked him, but this is not love, to which the mother replied, "What did you make up as if you know what this feeling is? Love. Everything is made up in your TV series, but in real life, everything is different. Then the events happen very quickly. After a month of dating, it was confessed to Elena and proposed marriage. Elena accepted the offer and they got married. The man did everything for his beloved so that only she was happy. He himself was so in love. He felt like a teenager. Finally, his daughter had a mother who really loved this child very much. Almost a year later, Elena gave birth to her husband's son. Lena, Edward's assistant, was furious. How could he fall in love with this gray mouse? What did he see in her? Lena is a completely different matter. A tall blonde, bright, shiny, sexy, with an ideal figure. She was always by a dwarf's side, knew all the details of running a business and was a good assistant to him. The man knew perfectly well what she liked, but as he told Lena, "I don't mix personal relationships with work. I really appreciate your professionalism and I don't want to change anything." Lena always had big goals to which she went confidently, overcoming obstacles. From the very beginning, she wanted to become the owner of a profitable business. And for this, she needed a marriage with Edward. She is a bitchy businesswoman with a cute appearance but a cruel nature, ready for anything to secure her future. Quite successfully, she easily removed all opponents on her way to do this. She paid a large sum to a programmer she knew who miraculously connected her home laptop to video cameras in Edward's house. After a working day at home, she reviewed the recordings for the day every evening. She knew all the details of her Edward's personal life and it according to the circumstances. She got rid of 2 candidates for a wife easily, but this one, Lena, could not do anything. Watching the videos, the woman has never found anything interesting for herself. Every day, they have a complete idyll, holding hands, whispering something gentle in their ear. Playing with children. How can you lead such a dull and boring life? It is disgusting to look at this model family. Elena felt like a happy woman. For this feeling, she had everything: a loving husband, desired children, a huge house, wealth. She loved her husband as a close person, respected him and was grateful for such a luxurious life. It would arranged for her mother to go to a foreign clinic and paid for her treatment. Now she was already at home, feeling well, constantly receiving expensive medicines without which she could die now. Today, Elena asked Eduardo to let her work in the kindergarten again. She really needed to feel useful in society. She wanted to help children. The man, of course, agreed because he understood that, in addition to the family, a woman should develop herself. He said he would find her a personal driver. Elena gathered herself and went out to the car. The new driver, Alexis, was standing by the open car door. He greeted and smiled. It was at this time that Elena felt an unfamiliar feeling of warmth fill her with warm waves. A few days later, Elena realized that the feeling was mutual when Alexis suddenly passionately kissed her in the car. They began to meet secretly. The woman was unable to resist this bright, exciting feeling and completely immersed herself in the new sensations without thinking about the consequences. They hid their meetings very carefully. Edward did not even suspect that his wife had betrayed him. Today, Elena stayed at home alone. Edward had to go to a business meeting in a nearby city. He said he would stay there for the night. The woman had put her wonderful children to bed and was now sitting in front of the mirror in her room. Suddenly, someone knocked on the balcony door. Beloved, extraordinary, caring, Alexis stood there. Elena was very happy, but reminded about video cameras. To which the man replied that their guards rarely look, only when something that needs to be found disappears. The lovers spent a passionate night, are now hugging each other, talked about the future. Here Elena told her lover that she wanted to divorce Edward. She will talk to him in the near future and sure when her husband lets her go, the lovers will be together forever. Only Elena has a son without whom she cannot imagine her life. Alexei assured her that he would be the best father in the world. Lena was already tired of spying on Edward's family life, but today she was drawn to the laptop by a magnet. Really? Has this village girl got a lover? Well, finally, I waited for this quiet girl to show her true essence. Lena decided tomorrow morning to show Edward an interesting movie with his wife in the lead role. And of course, she will gladly help him survive this betrayal. And now you can afford to celebrate the beginning of big changes in her life. The woman filled her glass with champagne and lay in a luxurious bath, imagining the face of her boss when he found out about Alina's infidelity. It was at this time that the support of the shelf somehow broke off and the hairdryer turned on in the outlet fell into the water where Lena was lying. It was just arrived at work in the morning, and he was immediately shocked by the terrible news. His assistant died tragically last night. Now he was summoned for a conversation with the police. On the way, the man thought about Lena's death. She was a professional in her field. In the investigator's office, he was asked more questions about the life of the deceased. And then they told that they found out that the assistant was watching Edward's house for some reason and showed him the last recording that she was watching. The man's roof almost fell off from what he saw. Is his beloved, sweet wife capable of such meanness? He could barely contain himself. After the police, he immediately went to his best friend to whom he told everything, along with the feeling of pain. Anger was already added. His soul wanted revenge and he already knew what he would do. When it came home, Elena herself asked him for a private conversation. The man barely had enough strength not to rush at the traitor. But he tried to listen to her calmly, looking into those lying eyes. Elena directly asked him for a divorce, but to his question, why? She said that she did not love him and would like to live alone with her son. And not a word about any driver. Edward sighed. Okay. You can go. Elena happily ran to pick up her things and then to the nursery to pick up her son, Mark. But the boy was not there. The woman, frightened, ran into Edward's office, asking where her son was. The man was sitting in front of the TV, where he was watching the video surveillance footage of last night. Elena fainted. And Edward, returning to her, informed her that his children, and she would never see Mark again. Everything is completely legal. Did she sign the marriage contract? And down there in black and white it is written that the children stay with their father, if anything. It is of no use to her, of course, to know that this item appeared yesterday. She is a traitor. Let him feel all the pain she caused him. Edward also informed Elena that her beloved driver would not help. He is currently under investigation because drugs were found at his home after an anonymous call to the police. The woman cried a lot, screamed, begged him to forgive her and give her her son. But the guard silently took her out of the house and took her to her mother. Elena went to her mother in tears, but a new surprise awaited her there. Her mother said that yesterday, she had run out of expensive medicines and was told on the phone they would no longer bring them to her. And she does not understand what happened. Elena understood everything. She wanted to die. At this very time, Edward was playing with the children in the nursery. He told them that their mother had to go somewhere far away, but he would always be by their side, protect them and help them. But I will never marry again. They are all the same, thoughted, worried, and smiled warmly at his son and daughter. Dear listeners, please like and subscribe to our channel. It stimulates me to release